Good morning, everyone. Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. I hope you all are having a fantastic day today. It is hot. We have been spoiled the last couple days with temperatures in the 80s, if you can believe it. That is so not normal for our summers here, and I was just loving it. And so then I put on, a lightweight but a kind of long sleeve shirt this morning thinking, oh, I'll be nice. It's been such nice weather. And I come out here and it feels like it's almost 100 degrees already. So if I'm sweating a little bit, that is why. So today I'm excited because I am doing another question and answer session. I did one of these earlier this year in the spring, and I loved it. I enjoyed it so much. To me, it was so much fun to answer all your questions and see what you were all wondering. And then it kind of just started discussion in the comments section, and I just thought it was so fun. That's something that I'm really enjoying about this YouTube experiment that I'm doing, is all the really fun discussions that I get to have and we all get to have in the comment section about gardening. So yeah, I wanted to do it again, and I posted, the way that I get my questions is I usually post, it's called a post in YouTube, and it'll come up in your feed as just a picture. And in that post I ask, let me know your questions that you have for my question and answer session, and then you all can leave your questions down in the comment section below that. So that is where I got some of my questions for today. I have about 10 questions that I grabbed. If I didn't grab your question, I'm sorry. I wanted to limit it to 10 just so I don't bore you all with this video. But yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so I have my computer on my lap, so if I keep looking down, that's because I'm reading off the screen. So the first question is from Elizabeth, and she says, "Hi Janie, my question is, what are some of your unpopular opinions when it comes to plants and gardening? Thanks for being a bright light in so many of our days." Thank you, Elizabeth. That is very sweet. So I was thinking about this, and what are some of my unpopular opinions? And I think my most unpopular opinion that I have is that I don't totally enjoy vegetable gardening. I've said this to you all before. I've said my passion is flowers, my passion is plants. I do have a little vegetable garden over in my kitchen garden right over there. And I enjoy it. It's kind of fun to see what I can grow. I like growing tomatoes. I like growing basil, but everything else I'm just kind of about. And I know that, people are obsessed with vegetables. There are people that absolutely love vegetable gardening, and I watch them on YouTube, and I'm totally enthralled at how much they love it. My uncle, who I'm going to see tomorrow, I'm going to see my aunt and uncle and my grandmother, and a little bit west. They live in Sonoma County, which is where I grew up. He is obsessed with vegetable gardening, obsessed. So I would say that's probably my most unpopular opinion that I have with gardening, is that I don't really enjoy veggie gardening. And maybe it's because I'm just not good at it, right? Like, I struggle with veggie gardening. And I think part of the reason is that I don't have the passion to look into it and to research it and to learn about it the way that I have the passion for flowers and cut flowers and annuals and perennials and all that kind of stuff. I spend all my free time looking at that stuff because I love it, and I don't do that with vegetables. So I know that that's unpopular. I know that most people don't agree with that, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it. I'm still going to have fun with it. I just can't say that it's my top priority or even my 10th priority, if that makes sense. So another unpopular opinion that I think I have with gardening, and I know when I say this, it's going to be so controversial because I get comments on Instagram, I get comments on YouTube about it, and I totally get it. But I do think that we villainize and shun certain plants way too much, particularly vining plants. I love vining plants. They're probably my favorite type of plant because I have such a lack of space here in my garden that vertical gardening is so important to me. It makes such a difference in my garden. And really, if you research it and you look at it, almost every vining plant, somebody in some part of the country or some part of the world is going to tell you that it's invasive and you can't grow it and it's going to take over and it's a thug and all that kind of stuff. So my unpopular opinion is that I think as a gardening community as a whole, I think we're way too harsh on certain plants and way too strict on, you know, what kind of plants a person can plant where. You know, I totally get that there are invasive plants and you should look on the invasive plant website. It's a fantastic website where you can search your area and look and see what plants you absolutely should not plant. However, you know, I live in the middle of a neighborhood. I live in the middle of concrete. So if I plant English ivy in my front yard where it's completely surrounded by concrete and it's not going to go anywhere, I don't feel bad about that because it's my yard. It brings me so much joy. I'm willing to put the work into it for keeping it tamed. And if I was ever to move out of this house, I would absolutely take care of it and eradicate it before I sold it to the new homeowners, if that makes sense. So I think that a lot of plants just get labeled as bad plants, and I just think that we need to be a little bit more open-minded. You know, if a certain plant goes crazy and grows all over the place in the South, that same plant is not going to grow the same in California where it's absolutely dry and there's zero humidity, you know, so there's a difference in climate and we can't just villainize one plant across the board. So I feel like that is a very unpopular opinion. I'm uncomfortable saying that on video because I know the reaction that I'm going to get from some people, and I do understand that that is my unpopular opinion. Okay, so the next question is from Loves of a June Bug. She asks, do you ever hope or plan to leave your day job in favor of pursuing your hobby as a career? So my day job is I am a physical therapist. I am a home health physical therapist. So I go to people's homes, usually after they have surgery, and help them recover, help them get back to walking and things like that. So I actually have backed off. I used to work full-time and now I am what we call per diem, which I kind of give my availability to work, and I don't have to work full-time, which is very exciting. And I want to thank all of you for watching my videos, for allowing me to do that, which is so, I mean, it's just been so much fun. So I've had a lot more time to work on gardening and work on my YouTube channel, and I am totally having a blast. It's been so great. I would love to leave my day job for full time. I just don't know how I'm going to do that. You know, I don't know where this YouTube channel is going to go. You know, we live in California and inflation and everything's so expensive. So, you know, I do have to bring in some income for my family, you know, so I just have to figure out how to make this work, you know, and I'm just not totally sure how to do that yet. You know, I'm not a business person. I wish I was a better business person, but I'm absolutely not. So, you know, I've been talking to my friends about it and talking to my husband about it and, you know, just trying to figure out how to make this work as a full-time job. You know, and I have some ideas, but I'm not sure what I want to do. So I'm working on it. I will say that a lot of YouTubers and a lot of content creators, they do the sponsored posts. You know, they will work with companies and the companies can pay you to do videos. And I have tried a couple of those and I don't know. I just didn't feel good about doing it. I mean, the sponsored posts that I have done, I totally feel confident about the products that I did and the products that I talked about to you all. I just don't want my channel to turn into that. My favorite channels that I watch on YouTube are ones that I can turn on and I can kind of just relax and I don't have to feel like I'm being sold anything to. You know, I just want to relax about it, right? And I feel like if I rely on all the sponsored posts, then my channel is going to change. You know, it's going to be a different feel. It's going to be more of like a business type influencer feel, and that is not what I want for my channel. So, you know, the answer is yes, I would love to leave my day job at one point. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but I do have the luxury of cutting back my hours, which has been so amazingly fantastic and wonderful and fun. So thank you all for that. Okay, so the next question is from Nicole, and she says, yay for another Q&A. Thank you, Nicole. You are so sweet. You are just, all of you, you guys are just the sweetest people. I just love you all, and I really appreciate all your comments that you send to me. I mean, they're so fun to read. So Nicole's question is, how do you go about choosing what flowers you plant in your cut flower garden? With limited space and an unlimited amount of choices, how do you choose? Also, how many hours a week would you say you're in the garden? I love your channel so much. You're so fun to watch, and your passion is contagious. Thank you, Nicole. So how I go about choosing for my cut flower garden is I think about a couple things, and I learned this from Florette, is that you want to make sure that you have your focals, you want to make sure you have your fillers, and you want to make sure you have your supporting flowers. So that's kind of what I do, is I kind of go through that, and I make sure I have a couple focal flowers, I make sure I have a couple filler flowers, and I make sure I have a couple supporting flowers. And then I think about what colors I really want to, like what color scheme I want to stick with. If it's my cool flower, planting plan, I'll know that those flowers are going to be blooming in the spring, early summer. So I know I'm going to do like kind of cooler pastel-y colors. Whereas when I get into my summer colors, I'm going to do brighter, more summery fun colors, even maybe some fall colors. So then that kind of limits me. And then what I usually think about is I always have my tried and true go-to flowers, like zinnias, like cosmos, like sunflowers, like snapdragons that I know are going to do well. And then I like to try a couple random ones that I don't know are going to do well. Like some of the asters, or, some of the really interesting ones that maybe just might be one flower in an arrangement, but it's fun to try it and it's fun to see. So that's kind of how I think about it. Now, if you all watched my video yesterday that came out, I get to plant on a bigger plot of land this upcoming season. So I still have my 10 by 20 cut flower garden in the front yard, and I'm still planning to do that, but my options just expanded so much. And so how I chose for that is I literally just went through and was like, yes, I like that. Yes, I like that. Yes, I like that. No rhyme or reason or plan or anything like that. So I know that's not what you're asking, Nicole, but that is literally what I did with that big cut flower garden. I'm much more organized and much more restrained with my personal cut flower garden here on my property. Next question is from Andrea. She says, happy Thursday, Janie. Love your channel. I recently became obsessed with gardening in my yard since 2020 or so. Me too, Andrea. And your video on how you got started was so interesting. My question is, do you think you might do a garden tour or a meet and greet sometime soon? It would be fantastic to meet you. Your property is beautiful and you have impressive green thumbs. Thank you. Oh, Andrea, that is so sweet. And there was a couple of you that replied to that. And so I really, really appreciate that. My answer is I would love to do something like that. I think that would be so much fun. I would love to have garden tours here or a meet and greet somewhere. I just have to figure out how to do it. I just don't know how to do that type of thing. This is all new to me, and I just have to figure out how to do it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm totally open to something like that. I would love to meet you guys, if you guys live near here, and I'd love to show you my property. I think it'd be so fun to do some type of garden tours here. I just have to figure it out. I just have to figure out how to manage it, how to do sign-ups, or I'm not even sure. So I will look into it. I am thinking about it. I will figure it out, and I will try and figure out how we can do something fun. So thank you so much for saying that, and thank you to you all that replied to that. I really appreciate it. You guys are so sweet. Okay, next question. Destry says, wondering if you will ever get some merchandise. I would love a t-shirt, hoodie, or bag with your logo on it. Thanks from Springfield, Oregon, for all the amazing things I have learned from you. I've actually been to Springfield, Oregon, Destry. I hope I'm saying your name right. I actually do have merchandise. So if you go onto my video descriptions down below, and you'll look at my links, it has my email and all that kind of stuff. There's a little link there that says merchandise, and it's through Teespring or Spring, which is what most YouTube creators use. And you can just click on that and it'll take you to my merchandise site, and you can get t-shirts and sweatshirts and stickers and things like that. So I'm working on that. I'm still kind of building it up. I'm actually working with Spring right now to make the options a little bit better. But I actually love it. I love my logo. I'm so happy with my logo. So, I love having it on. I have some sweatshirts that have it on. I need to get some t-shirts for sure. And I want a hat because I wear hats all the time, and I want a hat that has it on, but I don't think spring offers hats. So I have to figure out how to do that. So thank you for that question. Thank you for letting me point that out. It is in the description below. Okay, as the sun gets higher in the sky, I keep having to move my umbrella, my trusty umbrella, so I can stay in the shade. So hopefully the lighting is okay. All right, so the next question is kind of a fun one. It's from My Sister's House 2003. And the question is, hi Janie, can you talk a bit about how you got started doing gardening videos? On a separate note, my skinny side yard was featured in the same garden answer video as yours, which I think is awesome. I think that that's so cool. So a little background, in January of this year, Laura and Aaron from Garden Answer put a call out and said that they wanted people to send in videos of their narrow side yards or skinny side yards and different things that people had, that you've done with them. So I actually submitted a video of my side yard, and this was when I had just gotten started. Well, I got started late November last year with my YouTube channel. So I've submitted a video of my side yard with my espaliered honeysuckle that I can see right outside my kitchen window, and they featured it on their channel, and they featured a bunch of absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous side yards. I felt like mine was like the least impressive out of every other one that got submitted. So I'm sure My Sister's House 2003, I'm sure your side yard is incredible. I would love to know which one. So let us know in the comment section which one it is. So how I got started doing gardening videos. Well, first of all, I was obsessed with gardening and I wanted to talk about it all the time. And it got to the point that I felt like my friends and family were getting kind of annoyed with me talking about it absolutely all the time. Like I could not get enough of it. And so I spent a lot of my time, I was either in the garden or I was inside watching gardening videos. And that's what I did with my free time. And I thought, like, I could totally do this. I could do this. I can talk to a camera. I could talk to myself for a while, and I am gardening all the time, and I could probably film it, and it might be a fun thing to do. So what I did is I did a couple practice videos. I did a couple videos where I was talking to the camera just like this, and then I did a couple videos where I was out doing random things in the garden, and then I started practice editing. I do editing for all my videos myself. I get a lot of questions about that. Yes, I do all my own editing. And I just started playing with it. I just started practicing it and seeing what I could do. And I just jumped in. I just dove in. And one of the things that I wanted to commit myself to is I wanted to do 5 days a week. I wanted to be really consistent because I like consistent channels on YouTube. I like that I can count on them to have a video, no matter how short or how long or how interesting. I just can count on checking and knowing that there's going to be a video Monday through Friday or whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be 5 days a week. It could be 3 days a week. It's just consistency is something that I appreciate as a viewer, and I think it's really important as a content creator. So that's how I got started. Is I just practiced a couple times and then I just posted. I think that that's the hardest thing. Post your first video. Just post it so that you get it over with. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be good. Go look at my first video. It's pretty funny, but you just have to post it, and then you kind of learn as you go, and you get better at the videos, and you get more confident and more comfortable with how you film them and how you edit them. But if you want to get started, you just have to start posting videos, and that's it. It's very simple, but that's it. So hopefully that helps, and let us know which skinny side yard was yours. Next question is from Country Rose Homemaker. In your videos, you mentioned cutting back your petunias. How do you do this? Can you show us? I'm kind of nervous to do it. I just love your videos and your positivity. Thank you so much. So I actually filmed the beginning of a video cutting back my petunias back here, and then I'm waiting for them to grow back to film the conclusion of that video. So there is a video in the works. I just have to wait just a little bit longer so I can show you all how they grow back. But I did want to answer this question just because it's probably time to start cutting back black petunias or super petunias if you're going to be doing that this year. I am not going to cut back my super petunia jazzberries in my annual swoop. I don't need to cut those back. Those are perfectly fine. They're not leggy at all. What I do need to cut back, and I did cut back, is the ones in my pots back here. And the way you cut them back is you just give them a haircut, right? You can take about half of them. You can they usually say take about a third of them. In one of my pots up here, I went a little overboard and I took a little too much. So don't take too much. Make sure you leave some nice healthy green leaves on there. But just give them a haircut. Use your pruners and give them a haircut, and then fertilize right after that. Because what's going to happen is you're cueing the plants that it's time to start growing again, and they need that food. They need that nutrients to start growing again. So don't be scared of it. It's going to look bad when you first cut it back. It's not going to look good. You're going to think, what did I do? But you're going to be so happy once you do it. So you just take it, you pull the stems, and you kind of just cut about half of them off. Hope that helps. So Peggy from Manitoba asks, do you consider yourself to be more introverted or extroverted? Were you nervous when you took that first leap of sharing your gardening videos? I loved this question, Peggy. Thank you. I thought it was really interesting. And I think that it's interesting because I think it depends on how you define being an introvert and an extrovert. So the way I think about it, I read an article or something like that. I read something about it's where you get your energy from. So it's where you feel rejuvenated and you feel refreshed and you feel like you have a burst of energy. Do you get that from being around people, or do you get that from being by yourself? And I think that that's what makes you introverted or extroverted. I love talking to people. I love being around people. I love being around my friends and talking to people at work. I could talk to people all day. However, I get my energy from being by myself. I get my energy from being actually in my garden by myself, in my own thoughts, peaceful, and that's where I feel refreshed and rejuvenated. So because of that, I actually consider myself an introvert, big time, right? Because at the end of the day, like if you go to a party and you're talking, for a couple hours, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I need to go home and I need to rest and I need to read a book or watch YouTube or something like that. But if I'm in the garden by myself, all of a sudden I feel like I can, get on with the rest of my day. And that's probably why I love gardening in the morning, because I feel like that just gives me my energy. So if, considering that as the definition of introvert and extroverted, I am definitely an introvert. And I was extremely nervous to post my first gardening videos on YouTube. It was something that I kind of just had to close my eyes and press post and just see what happens. And I have to say that once I got over the concern of doing the first post, and just kind of like opened up to friends and family, like, yep, this is what I'm doing, and then I only got mainly positive comments. Of course there was a couple trolls and stuff like that I had to watch, but most gardening community people are just the sweetest people in the world, and it just gave me the confidence to keep going. So yes, I was extremely nervous, Peggy. I am definitely an introvert. I get my energy from being alone, but I also love being out there and talking about it and talking about gardening and sharing my videos. So really interesting question. Thank you so much. Next question is from Misty B. Strong. She says, beautiful, my very large yard has junk, dirt, and not much else. It is overwhelming on where to start. Where would you start if you had a blank slate? I'm in 9B2. So I thought this was kind of a neat question because how cool, Misty, like you get to start from totally blank, right? Totally fresh slate. I think that that's really neat. And I was thinking how I would answer this, and I would say, don't overcomplicate it. Do like your first garden that you're going to plant in your blank slate property is not going to be the garden that you're going to end up with. So don't expect that you're going to put it in and that's going to be it and you're going to be absolutely done. Start off really easy. Start off small. Start off with seeds, really cheap wildflower seeds or seeds that will grow in your area, poppies or zinnias or different things like that, and just plant them knowing they're only going to last 1 year. And then you can kind of look at your garden that year and you can kind of see, oh, I love it over here and I always walk this direction, so that might be a good area for a path. or, you know, I always find myself bringing my chair over to this shady part right here, so that might be a good part for a little seating area. Basically, you don't know what you want until you get out there in the garden and start spending some time out there. So put some annuals in, put some cut flowers in, put some seeds in, and see what you do with the garden, and just know that it's not going to stick that way. It's not going to stay that way, and don't commit to whatever you're doing, which is why I love annuals and seeds, because they're so cheap. So that is what I would do, Misty, is I would just get started like that. I would just start planting zinnias. If you're in 9B, you still have time to plant that kind of stuff. So start planting zinnias and sunflowers and see how you like it and see how you do. And then just start trial and error and see how you actually use your own garden. Hope that helps. Okay, so next question is from At Home with Elisa, who has her own YouTube channel from Australia. You know, she's wonderful. She's so sweet. She's actually basically starting from scratch in her garden as well. It's so funny because we are dealing with a massive drought here in California, like 0 rain, and we need rain so badly, and they are dealing with too much rain. I think that this is the second year that they've dealt with massive amounts of rain where it actually like will wash away her garden. So, you know, it's tough to watch, but it's pretty cool how she handles it. So thanks, Elisa, for watching my videos as well. So she asked, do you have a monthly to-do list in the garden? How do you manage to stay on top of things? The weather here in New South Wales has definitely hampered my gardening goals, LOL. I'm sorry, that's rough. Send the rain up here. So I do have a gardening to-do list. I actually have like a gardening calendar, and it's just a massive list that has every week. I kind of go by the weeks of the year, and basically I've gone through and I've just put in the different things I need to do, whether it's fertilize my roses or, you know, spray for bugs for this, or plant this or transplant this. I put it in this massive weekly calendar, gardening calendar that I have, and that's what keeps me organized. That's what keeps me sane. I have my weekly, you know, rotation, which includes fertilizing and spraying BT, mowing the lawn, weeding, filling up my bird feeders, different things like that. But when it comes to monthly, I have this big gardening calendar that I've made for the entire year, and it kind of just keeps it straight. So if I ever plant something and it says, okay, well, cut back in November and fertilize in January, then I'll immediately go into my computer, open up that file that I have. It's just on Pages, and I put that in just so that I don't forget these things, because I don't want them in my brain. I have too much stuff in my brain already, and I just put it on the gardening calendar. And so all I have to do is I have to go to the week, and I just have to look at it and see what I have to do for that week. And that's how I do my seed starting as well. You know, I count back from when I want to plant out my transplants, and then I count back when I need to sow it, when I need to put it in the freezer, if they need to be stratified, and that's just how I keep myself organized. So yes, Elisa, that is how I do. That's my to-do list that I do. Now, that doesn't mean I always get to everything, but I have a list of the things that I need to do, and I always know if I'm missing something. It's better than, you know, just completely forgetting things, which I have done too. If I don't put it on that calendar or that list, it's just not going to get done. I will totally forget about it. Okay, next question is from Maya from Simply Bloom. She has a YouTube channel as well. She says, here's a fun question. You live in zone 9B, but if you could choose a different gardening zone to live in, which zone would you choose? For example, I live in zone 3. But I wish I could have a gardening season of zone 6, where I would still get some snow, but I would have a much longer growing season. Yes, and I totally get your question, because, you know, Maya's zone 3, which is kind of border, and I'm zone 9B, which is border too. I know that there's zone 10. A lot of you live in zone 10, but I feel like we're kind of on opposite sides. I was thinking about this, and I think that the zone that I would like to live in would be zone 8. And the reason why I want to live in zone 8 is it's still warm. I like warm weather. I really enjoy warm weather. But there are so many more plants that you can plant in zone 8 that you can't plant in zone 9 just because of our heat. And I'm sure it's the whole, the grass is always greener on the other side, but particularly proven winners plants. I don't know what it is, but there's so many of their plants that are, you know, 5 through 8, 4 through 8. You know, it's always through 8. It's never through 9, let alone 10, right? So I feel like if I lived in zone 8, it would, you know, expand my horizons. Now, I do have to say, I push it. I always push it. I push it for zone 10 plants. I push it for zone 8 plants. I even have zone 7 plants for my Wichita blue juniper, just because there's different microclimates, you know, and you can kind of make it work in an area. But I would love to just kind of not even think about it and just take a zone 8 plant and throw it in my garden. So I think that that's the zone that I would love to be in. I'm sure if I was in zone 8, I would want to be in zone 7 or zone 6. You know, like I said, grass is always greener on the other side. Okay, and that is it for the summer question and answer videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all for submitting your questions. I think that that was so much fun. If you guys have any other questions, leave them in the comments section below, and I will try and answer them the best I can. Again, I cannot thank you all so much for watching my videos and your support for my channel. It is just, this has been such a fun year for me. It's been such a fun, I call it an experiment, but I think we're kind of past that. I think it's kind of like a new endeavor that I'm working on, this whole YouTube/gardening thing. So I just have to say thank you all so much for supporting me with that. And I hope you all have a chance to get into your garden today.